Hello, good evening, good morning, good day, wherever you are. It's evening time here in Melbourne, Australia. We want to welcome you to the Vicky O Show, the Nigeria we want. Today, I will be having my my panelist on shortly. But before I bring them on, I would like to share with you the information for two of our sponsors. These are our regular sponsors. If you would like to sponsor the show, just send us an email, vikioshow@gmail.com. So the first business that we would like to appreciate, they are called Capstone Medical Center, Bensdale, group of medical doctors doing wonders within their community. Just check them out. Our appreciation goes to the directors and owners of the Capstone Medical Center, Bensdale, for sponsoring us, for supporting us. Now, I would like to quickly share with you a wonderful woman, a great editor. She's an editor of editors. If you're writing a book, you're writing a term paper, you're writing a scholarship application, and you need someone with great experience to go through what you've put together for you before submitting or before submitting your manuscript to be published. This is the woman to talk to. Her name is Dr. Randy Ward with over 40 years of experience. She has written so many books on bestseller list, and she's edited so many books, out of which I'll show you one that she recently edited for me. 33 authors from 7 different countries with different ideas, putting them all together, and she edited this book, 100 and almost 200 pages. 181 pages. She edited this 3 times within 12 hours. So she's an editor of editor. She's the best person to talk to. You're writing a book, you're in the process of publishing the book, send her your manuscript. She's very affordable. Talk to her. Send her an email through vikioshow@gmail.com and she will be in touch with you. Check her out. Dr. Randy Ward. So don't forget, send an email to her through vikioshow@gmail.com and she will be in contact with you. It's time now to bring our panelists onto the show. Mr. Wale Olaito, you are welcome.
My dear sister, it's good to
How
be
are you
back.
doing? It's
Yeah, I'm
good to
good.
have you back. Yes, yes, yes. It's good to have you back. And I can see Elvis driving. Aha. All right, I'll bring him on. Igbo
Yeah,
Kwenu, brother. You still did drive.
Kekwezono. Yeah, book is actually bookie driving. Yeah, it's we're just returning from a trip, but if it's okay, for a couple of minutes, I'll be in this position. If you like, I can turn off the video if it helps, or whatever.
No, it's all right. Let's get started. Let's get started. How's your week been, both of you? Wale, how's your week? Yep, yours is busy, yes.
Same here. Very, very busy week for me. So it's just good to have the weekend just to relax. And it's just been just a relaxing one for me. Just just relaxing. Nothing much to do, than to relax.
Yeah, same here. Same here. Yeah, it's been a busy one. Travel down to Toragon and yeah, but today has been a relaxing day. I did nothing. I did something, but not to. Didn't go anywhere. So yeah, it's good to relax and just chill. So, what are your updates over the week? For me, I'll just get started. For me, Prince Philip passed on. Did that happen this week? I'm not even sure.
I think it's happened to last week. I think that was
Oh,
on Friday,
okay.
Saturday last week.
Last week. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's still very
correct.
current. It's still very
It's still
current.
current. Okay, all
Yeah.
right. I'm on point then. Um, what else happened? I think yeah, I've been on. I've not been in touch anyway, so I'll just let you guys go. So Elvis, what's your update?
It's on mute.
Elvis, you've been on mute.
Oh,
Yep.
sorry. Yeah. Can you
Yep,
hear me
that's
now?
all. Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, my update is I came across the news of the state of the police brutality in the U.S. So two actually come to mind. One was the case of a serving military officer that was pepper sprayed at the gas station. I'm not sure what his offense was, but the manner in which the police dealt with him begged for more answers. The other one was the shooting and killing of a 13-year-old, I think somewhere in Chicago, which someone tagged an execution, because this kid has had his hands up, according to the news, when he was actually shot and killed by the police. So even with Judge Floyd passing and the case still in court, you can still see and then there was this other mass shooting by FedEx ex-FedEx staff, where about 8 people were exterminated. No one knows the reason why he shot these 8 people, and then in the end he also shot and killed himself. So with regards to
Elvis, the funniest part of that, will I call it the funniest? But what I found intriguing, which I shouldn't, but it was just a shocker that when they were talking about this on the news, in the news, they refused to show his face, which they would have done if it's African American or an immigrant from somewhere who is not, I mean, who is not a Caucasian. They will be so, quickly they will show the face, they will talk about the person's heritage. Oh, an African American did this. A 38-year-old African American, or a Nigerian immigrant did this, and they quickly show that person's face. We still didn't know the person, even though he did the wrong thing. So, what I'm trying to get at here is the role of the media in all this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can see it's
Sad.
one-sided media. The media is supposed to be impartial and to
Exactly.
report to report the news
as it happened. Yeah.
as they happen. Yeah, but where it's
Mm,
a institution where you're picking and choosing whose face to show, what to report and what not to report. You
mm.
know, it's disheartening to see things like
It's
that.
quite disheartening. Yes. Oh, Mr. Wale Olaito, thank you so much, Elvis, for that. Wale, what's your update, please?
Yeah, thanks. Um, my update is about the return of President Buhari to Nigeria after his 2 weeks absence.
Mm,
He was on medical checkup in UK, so he came back just on Thursday. After 2 weeks, um, a medical tourist of a very high standard. The practice that he condemned for many years, while in opposition. So he came back. And the most interesting part of that was he was interviewed on his arrival. He had his entourage. And then he was interviewed, um, by I think an NTA reporter. And the specific question was, what should Nigeria expect from him that now that is back in the country? And he said Nigerians should expect continuity.
of what?
So so
Continuity of what?
yeah, so I
Oh my
found
God!
that very, very weird, and I found it very, very funny. Like, I just, maybe I'm interpreting it the wrong way, or maybe I'm overanalyzing the whole thing. But I was just asking, what sort of continuity you're talking about, Mr. President Buhari? Continuity, this, insecurity, the act of lawlessness in the country, the state of the economy, the state of kidnapping. So I think for me, that's I think is the most important part of, you know, um, updates. What really, came across as really interesting to me was that statement, from President Buhari, continuity. So we hope we continue in the right direction, not in the way
Exactly.
things are going now.
That's been,
Yeah,
yeah.
so that's it. That's it. That's my update.
Yeah.
Well,
And
it's not
on
okay.
yes.
No, you
Oh,
go for Vicky. Vicky, you go.
yeah, on that update, as you all know, last week Friday we buried my dad in Nigeria. I couldn't go because of the situation, and the permit wasn't granted. I wasn't granted a permit to travel. So my siblings did go, did travel down for only 5 days in Osun State. Guess how much we paid for their security? 1.2 million naira just for 5 days. 1.2 million naira, which before they traveled, our budget was 600,000 naira. But by the time they got there, guess what happened? Some police that were asked um, to guide some people from overseas were actually kidnapped and killed. So that was just a few days before my siblings got to Nigeria. And 1.2 million naira from 600,000 naira a few days before. So that
Wow.
just says, and I've been thinking, how are people doing it? Egboyemi, how are you doing it? When you have to dip your hand in your pocket and pay for your own security, why did we have the government then? How are people doing it? 1.2 million. How many people can afford that?
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
Vicky.
crazy.
When Wale spoke, you could see I was laughing, but honestly, it's not funny. Wale, I came across that video and it cracked my ribs when I
Yeah,
listened to
we're going
the
to play
president's
it.
take.
Let me know when you
Yeah,
want me to play it, Wale.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Can you can you
when
can you
that
can you can you play it now? I thought you didn't have the time to
Oh no, I
download
didn't.
it.
I did. I quickly did. Then I went up to have my
Okay,
makeup
okay, okay,
done.
okay. Okay, let's
It
maybe you
worked.
take
Yeah,
Egbon's
I'll just
update
Wale,
All
can
right.
I
and then you
yeah
play it after you've
can
taken
I
Egbon's
just make
update.
my comments before you can I
Oh,
make my
sorry.
comments?
Sorry. Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Please do go ahead.
yeah. So when I came across that, I was thinking, Wale, you put it succinctly, and my interpretation is it will be the continuity of the chastising of Nigerians, obviously, because when you speak about continuity, every single one here watching, every single person on this program know that things are not well back home. So when you say continuity, is that the continuity as Wally put it, the kidnapping or the hardship and all of that? Now, Vicky, when you say you paid how much 1.2 million to secure your siblings, it just
Yes.
goes to tell you the absence, the fact that there's the absence of government in Nigeria. I've said this to a few friends in different discussions where you have to provide for your own security, where you have to provide your own water. You build a house, you have to dig a borehole. You build a house, you need to buy a generator. Efforts at fixing the roads will be like with your neighbors or people within your community. You're fixing the potholes and all of that. Where we have our home in Nigeria, remember, even till now, we still pay security to private security guards to look after the area. We fix the roads. We'll have our own private water. So it just tells you there's the absence of government. Government has completely failed the people. I'm sorry to say, but that's the reality. It's so weird. It's so disheartening to see these things happening to our people in the midst of plenty, yet there's so much lack.
Hmm. Thanks, Elvis. Egboyemi, you are welcome. Are you speechless? Wọ́n ní ọ̀rọ̀ tó ẹkún tó tẹ̀rín àbí báwo náà ṣe máa ń sọ. So it's your turn to share your updates with us.
Yes, it's more like it's my time for therapy. Nice to be with you guys once again.
You're welcome.
I'm not a happy person. Frankly, I'm not. I'm not in the sense that almost everything around is going wrong. And it's such a shame. The honest truth is that the average Nigerian here is waiting for something to happen.
To happen, exactly.
Just waiting for something to happen. That on the program today is personally is probably just worth celebrating, because anything could have happened, any other thing could have happened before today. That is as bad as it is. I've said it on this program before, and it's a prayer that I hope and pray that we do not go the way of Somalia. I hope we don't. And it's worse when you realize that the body language of leadership is like
we don't
all
care.
is normal. All is normal. That is, what are you screaming about? What are you talking about? What is abnormal around you? That is the body language of leadership. And it's a very, very sad one. There are a few good ones up there, but they are almost screaming themselves to the point of cracking. But we still hope and pray and push. You just said something today that has worsened my situation, which is that of having to pay 1.2 million to secure your siblings so that they can come this way, do what they had to do what is just naturally required within the societal structure, and then get back to base. safe and sound.
Exactly.
Now, if you had to pay that much, in actual fact, if you had to pay at all for status, the idea of paying at all for it makes me feel I feel harassed, I feel embarrassed. But that is the reality. And then having to pay that much, there's more to it. There's something more to it. But I don't know. We'll keep talking about this. We'll keep talking about this. We over the week or so, we had the Chief of Army Staff appearing at the House of Rep, and we had the brick bats, and then you realize that representatives of the people are struggling or were struggling, and I have a very strong feeling that they are still struggling to be acknowledged their rightful position in the scheme of things. And if they need to struggle for that, then it tells you how bad things are. Listening to the Chief of Army Staff as well, he also made some points. He made some points, but within the normal scheme of things, you know where authority should lie. But obviously, this has been lost along the line. That is one. Of course, we had the story of the National Sports Festival, because I want to look at some lighter things as well, so that I can keep my sanity. I don't know whether it is good for therapy. Vicky should be able to say that, but I want to look at some lighter things as well. The National Sports Festival, Bayelsa State, a state in Nigeria, had to hire a runner from Kenya.
What?
It's not fiction now. They brought in a runner from Kenya so that they could win some medals in some categories, the long distance races.
And
I'll tell you, it's a symbolic thing. It's symbolic of the degeneration
of the system.
Societal degeneration, political degeneration. It's a symbol. But that was what happened. Of course, he was caught and they had to lose some medals and all that. But as at this morning, I'm yet to hear that heads rolled. As at this morning, medals have been taken back, and maybe all is well as usual, and we are just back to normal. And which brings me to my question,
exactly.
But let me leave it to that. Let me leave it at that for now. Let me leave it at
that. Man. All right, I'll just pass it back on to while you're light. So welcome and do your job, mate.
Yeah, okay, yes, thanks. Before we go on, can you quickly play that
yes,
video?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
All right, give me a second.
Yep.
And
so also today now
President Muhammadu Buhari alighted the Nigerian Air Force 001 aircraft that brought him from London at 4:45 Thursday evening. On hand to receive him at the presidential wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport were the Ministers of Defense Bashir Magashi and that of the FCT Muhammad Musa Bello, the Chief of Staff to the President Professor Ibrahim Gambari, and the National Security Advisor Babagana Munguno. Others include the service chiefs led by the Chief of Defense Staff, the new Acting Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali, the Director General, Department of State Services, Yusuf Magaji Bichi, and other senior government officials. Speaking to NTA News shortly on arrival, President Buhari said his reported medical checkup went well and indeed fulfilling. So having been refreshed after your well-deserved rest in London, what will Nigerians expect from your administration going forward?
Continuity.
While in London, you appointed the new Inspector General of Police. What do you expect from him?
He knows his job. He has been in it for a long time. He went through all the training. He has the necessary experience. So we have high expectations from him.
Before you traveled to London, you met twice with the new EFCC chairman. What have been your instructions to him? What did you tell him?
I can't tell you what I tell EFC chairman. Next question.
Are you satisfied with the performance of the new service chiefs, Your Excellency?
Oh, yes. They have been in the system all the way. They know what is wrong, they know what is right, and I think they are doing their best. I hope their best will be good enough for Nigeria.
President Buhari spent 15 days in London, the British capital, during the visit, which was his first since January 2020. In Abuja, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Interesting. Wale.
Okay, thanks so much for that video. So I can see Egbon giggling there. So to our viewers at home, if you have comments, Vicky will display our WhatsApp number. You can join us and you can, let us know what you think. Personally, I would like to know what Nigerians, what they think about the continuity, what that means, in the context of our present situation in Nigeria. Without further ado, we move straight to our topic of discussion tonight. We'll be discussing expectations and reality in the political space, beyond political slogans and tokenism. Our Nigerians have been unrealistic expectations from a flawed political system. So it will be extensively, we extensively discuss that topic tonight. But as a kind of prelude to set that ball rolling, I would like to read just a paragraph from, President Barack Obama's book, A Promised Land. Specifically, I'll be reading a paragraph from page 48 of his book, The Promised Land. He wrote, most people, wherever they are from, whatever they look like, are looking for the same thing. They are not trying to get filthy rich. They don't expect someone else to do what they can do for themselves. But they do expect that if they are willing to work, they should be able to find a job that supports a family. They expect that they shouldn't go bankrupt just because they get sick. They expect that their kids should be able to get a good education, one that prepares them for this new economy. And they should be able to avoid college if they put in the effort. They want to be safe from criminals or terrorists. And they figure that after a lifetime of work, they should be able to retire with dignity and respect. So that is how the great man, be able to really summarize expectations in terms of what people in every society expects, from their government. Are we expecting too much in Nigeria? Are we so disconnected from reality? Or is it that the system has, failed us as a people? So I will go straight to my first question, around that topic tonight. And my first question will go to Vicky, and specifically based on the kind of prelude that I've introduced and the video we've seen. My first question is this. Sorry. Elections promises are made to be broken. Why is so much disparity between election promises and deliverables in Nigeria?
That is actually a very simple question. But before I actually go into into answering that question, I want to comment on what Obama talked about in his book that you read to us. And it's quite simple. When we go back and look at Maslow's hierarchy of need, that was what he was talking about. And what is the hierarchy of need. What is it all about? It talks about, so we start from the bottom, okay? Psychological needs. We're talking about food, water, warmth, rest. Then the next is safety needs, security and safety. Then the third is belongingness and love needs, intimate relationships, friendships, networking, and all that. Then we talk about esteem needs, prestige, feeling of accomplishment. I've arrived, I'm doing okay, I've done well, I've done my studies, I'm working in my field, and I'm doing okay. Then the last part, which is on point, the hierarchy of needs is a triangle,
Yeah.
so self-actualization that I've achieved. When we talk about Egboyemi, we're talking about a veteran actor, a veteran artist, a veteran, because I've been watching him on the screen since we had the white and black screen. Egboyemi, you are not old, I'm just explaining, okay? I can't hear you.
I said it's okay. My head is
So when anyone that wants to describe Egboyemi now will talk about, yes, he's gotten to that point whereby so many are looking up to him, wanting him to mentor them, because he's actually done it. He's been there, he's done it, and he can, share his knowledge with others. Self-actualization, achieving one's full potential, including creative activities and all that. So what Obama actually talked about is exactly what the Maslow hierarchy of need had always talked about. And this is what we ask for in Nigeria. This is what everyone is asking for all over the world. Why should we be different in Nigeria? Why should security be something that it's only those that have the dough that can have it? Why? A teacher was going to school and she was kidnapped, just like that. Going to school to offer, her services to help the students, she was kidnapped. No one is safe anymore to walk down the street. So, psychological needs, food, water, warmth, rest. You work from 4 a.m. till 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. What kind of life is that? So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. So I'll move on to your question.
Yep. So my specific question is good. You've digressed into Maslow's hierarchy of need. You've made that strong connection between what Obama said and Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So my question now is that why do we have the disparity between what the election promises and deliverables? We live in a society that as I said in the first part of that question, that election promises are made to be broken. So I'm admitting that even in the most advanced societies, politicians do break election promises for a number of reasons. But in our case, why is so much disparity between what they say during campaign and in the actual things that they deliver when they are in government for 4 years, for how long?
For 16 years. It's going to keep happening until we make those making such promises, we make them to be accountable. Has anyone ever been made accountable? When we look back in history, last week I showed, how many people have ruled Nigeria since independence, right? I showed them their pictures. 16. Out of that 16, we have one that ruled twice. We had one that ruled 3 times. And all of them, who can we point to say, you did well, really well, because you did what you have to do, you ruled, and your integrity is intact? How many of them? And how many of them stole so much money and we know about it? I mean, there's one that died how many years ago and is still feeding some people. Whatever he stole and kept somewhere, we're still bringing it back to Nigeria. He stole so much to the extent that some of the money stolen, we're still getting them back into Nigeria. Who have we ever made to be accountable? Here in Australia, yes, here in America, they do make promises. Politicians, they have sweet mouth, we say, right? So they can say whatever just to be able to get there. But here, they find ways to make you to be accountable. Don't let us even talk about politicians, right? I just want to digress a little bit. The past CEO for Australian Post,
Hmm.
she took some money out of the I'm not sure if it's the shareholders or whatever, that she bought expensive gifts for certain people, group of people in the leadership. She didn't take the money and pocket the money. I didn't read it anywhere, but she bought expensive gifts. And I'm talking about, you know, branded gift. I'm not sure if it's Vogue or Gucci or whatever. Branded gift, expensive ones. She bought it for these people. She was caught. I mean, her employment was terminated. That is accountability. Somebody looked into it and said, this is not right. What are you doing? Are you trying to bribe them? Why are you giving them expensive gifts? Why are you giving them gifts at all? So it came on the news. Everyone heard about it. Our appointment was terminated. That's what we're talking about. Has there been anyone at all, that we say you did really bad? You promised to make this road from Lagos to Ondo State. Where's the money? We paid you. Where is the money? Has anybody that we've actually punished for doing the wrong thing? When Buhari first got there, I mean, that was one of the things that we were expecting, right? He got there and he took care of his own people. And those in the opposition that were found to be guilty, he started raiding them in. That is not doing the right thing. Everyone across board doing the wrong thing should be punished, should be made accountable. So, Wale, back to that question,
Yeah.
if nobody's going to, I mean, nothing is going to change until we change the way we do things. Like I said last week, it is insanity when we keep doing the same thing the same way and we expect different results. The moment we change our ways, that if you steal money, we are going to capture you and we're going to do what we have to do. You are going to vomit whatever you steal. We are going to sell all your houses till we get our money back. And you're going to go to jail. People will change and we follow through. It's like if my kid is misbehaving and I say to the kid, if you don't change, I'm going to do this. And the kid, because I didn't follow through with my threat, what's going to happen? That kid will do worse next time and worse next time. It's the same thing until we, the people, change our own ways and make them to be accountable. Nothing is going to change.
Thanks so much for that, Vicky. I will go to Elvis now. And specifically, I will ask my question to Elvis is why our people do not expect government to solve all their problems. They do expect that a change in government's priorities could help alleviate their problems. Why is ours a tale of misplaced priorities? Are you there, Elvis?
Oh yes, yes, I am, Wally. Yeah. So typically, what happens is a government comes into power. There's so much expectation from people, and then down the track, from my experience, and look, correct me if I'm wrong. Um, from the history of Nigeria, since I grew up and became knowledgeable of my surroundings and the happenings within the political terrain, what I know, what I've come to learn is, every incoming government is usually comes off worse than the previous one. I mean, this is my assertion. I could be wrong there, but um, this is what I've come to realize. So you people who are for the best, like in the case of the admins, people were hoping so much for change. People were promised change. Um, I can't remember how much a bag of rice was sold for in the market when pre APC, and how much is currently being sold. How much a bag of cement was sold then, and how much is currently sold now in the current market. So, if anything, prices may have gone up, 100% or 200, maybe more. And then naturally, people will wish, we need to see another government come in, and hopefully they can do better than the former. So my people are a people of hope, always looking for better things to come, but of course, always facing these disappointments and biting their fingers and filled with regrets. Oh, we thought this one could have done better. They're actually worse off than the former one we had. So yeah, it's a vicious, continuous circle until we find the right people in leadership. Hopefully, at such a time, people will, obviously stop looking for more. I'm not saying uh, they will stop altogether wishing for better things to happen in Nigeria, but at least you can have a situation where, this government is doing so well. If we have, you can ask the government to continue, but they do so well. But this other one has a better policy. They have a better manifesto. If they are voted into power, they will do better. Yeah, so that's what I find in my mind. While people are always wishing for more, only because um, government renege on their promises. They make all these huge political promises, and then when the reality is quite different from what the expectations of our people and what they promised before they got into that position. So you have the people always yearning for more. It just comes down to politicians breaking their promises, not wanting to follow through with whatever they promise, before being elected into those positions of authority. And naturally, people just want to see a change. Yeah, I think that's the situation.
Thanks, Elvis. And just talking about misplaced, priorities. Um, we know from time to time they make promises and they break promises. And like in this government, they did a few things in the area of agriculture. They're trying to improve, food production. They try to encourage people to go into agriculture. Part of it was at a stage they closed borders, even though that wasn't well, I guess, conceptualized, because the rate at which they closed the borders without considering alternatives in the interim, that was concerning at the time. But sometimes you just listen to some things or policies. You ask yourself, how could actually someone conceive this? And within a cabinet or within a ministry or whatever, they just come up with some things. And you just wonder, how could someone actually conceive this? And within a cabinet or within a ministry or whatever, they just come up with some things. And you just wonder, how could someone actually conceive this? And within a cabinet or within a ministry or whatever, how could anyone really agree to this? Like, for example, I would think that the one Egbon said before, when Ministry of Sport and Youth Development or whatever in Bayelsa, when they sat down to conceive that idea that, oh, look, we want to bring some long distance runners from Kenya, to come and run for them at the National Sport Festival, what have you. You would think that someone in that meeting would stand up and say, "Iji Agbadu Bai, are we all right? How do we even come to making such decisions and then implementing those decisions, like building rails from Nigeria to Niger?" You think that, how could the government misplace priorities, without even people within that cabinet, really raising the eyebrow and objecting to that. So that is the most concerning part of it. So moving on, I will go to Egbon now. And, the question I'm putting to Egbon, I'm taking some, moving back to some, historical stuff. Yeah, moving back to, after the return to democratic rule in 1999, Nigerian politicians popularized the phrase democratic dividends. If you listen to the news, you read newspaper, it was a very popular phrase at the time, democratic dividends everywhere. Egbon, what happened to this, the much talk about democratic dividends? Abandoned? What happened to democratic dividends, Egbon?
I think his screen is frozen. Okay, it's back.
That time, I hope you can. I hope you can hear me.
Yes,
Yes,
Egbon,
we
go
can.
ahead.
I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello, yeah,
Hello,
go
we
ahead,
can hear
Egbon.
you.
Yes,
Yes. What I'm
yes, we can hear you. Yes.
I've never been comfortable with that term.
Okay.
I've never been comfortable with that term. And I'm not sure I will ever be comfortable with it. Because as far as I'm concerned, it's a product of slave mentality. Democratic really doesn't mean, where did it come from? Just as you rightly said, our politicians came up with it. But the fact remains that, listen, it wasn't a situation of the politicians and the people having different historical experiences. No. The military experience was shared by all and sundry. Or better still, the military misadventure was shared by all and sundry. Just as we had the colonial experience. Now, I think it is peacockish. It is peacockish of anybody having gone through a process, electoral process, get to a post, and now you talk about democratic dividend. Dividend from who? Who is the slave? Who is the master that is dishing out this crumbs from the table? Who? So it's, as far as I'm concerned, it is neither here nor there. The purpose of you being elected into office is to deliver, is to make life more comfortable, is to make life more meaningful, is to ensure that infrastructures are in place, is to ensure that an ambience is created so that people will express themselves, not just politically, economically. People could use their skills, their talent to further their standard of living, to contribute to societal development. So you're not giving dividend to anybody. You're not. It is actually not in your place. But unfortunately, it has come into our lexicon.
Yeah.
And so we'll probably need to live with it. I must quickly point out something about the video that you played. it probably tells you our story. It tells you our story. The response to that question, as usual, was not really well thought of. But maybe one should stretch it further, that it has to do with limitations in terms of understanding a situation. And when that happens at that level, consider us as a people that is lost. And we'll probably eventually find our way back on track. Because right now, Elvis said it, as a failure in terms of governance. There is a vacuum in terms of leadership. And I said it here before, a lie ceases to be a lie as long as all parties involved have agreed that the truth should not be spoken. Presently, we are living a lie.
Totally.
Presently, we are living a lie. But we'll keep rolling on. We'll keep rolling on because I know something has to happen for something to happen. Whatever that is left to providence. It is that bad. I don't know whether I've answered your question, but there are no dividends of democracy anywhere. It's like addressing a slave camp. Now that you are going to be free, you can take that loaf of bread, you take that bag of rice. The 2 bags of yam there are yours, Musa or Godwin. No, that is not. That shouldn't be the situation. But that is what we have right now. The Yoruba drummers will say, meaning bamu bamu layo. Àwa ò mọ̀ pé bí ń pọmọ ẹnìkan bamu bamu layo. I mean, leadership is saying we are fed. It doesn't matter whether anybody is starving here, over there, it doesn't really matter. And it's also because we've lost our values. Because that video tells me that we have lost it. And you will ask me why. In a traditional setting, when a king goes at war, when a king disappears from the throne, leaving his people to starve, leaving marauders and insurgents to take over the space, when he returns, they don't welcome him with drums and dances.
Exactly.
I shouldn't say more than that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Sorry, Wale. What Egmont said just reminded me of something. And please,
they don't welcome him with songs and dances.
Yeah.
He's chastised.
Viewers out there,
what do I know? What do I know?
Yeah. Egmont, what you were talking about? Thank you, Egmont. What you were talking about reminded me of something that I wanted to share before, and I totally forgot. Viewers out there, don't come from my head, though. I'm just asking a question. I believe all of us here know who Prophet Genesis is, right?
Yeah, well, I've seen his video on Facebook, and for Celestial Church of Christ. Yeah, I've seen his videos there.
And he was jailed, I think, in November or October last year, and was released only a week ago. He was jailed. I believe somebody accused him of stealing from her, whatever. I don't know the details. And this guy was jailed. There must have been some evidences to show that he actually committed this offense, right? and he was jailed. He was supposed to be in jail for 2 years. I really don't have the details. And he was only released a week ago. He was released, and there was fanfare. There was lots of drums. There were lots of people welcoming him with open hands. My question, and remember we talked about having misfit as leaders in Nigeria only last week.
Yep.
That is happening in our community, in Yoruba land, where we were trained that, I just have some questions around that. That if we are doing that, what are we doing really? Aren't we encouraging others to keep to keep walking in that kind of path of stealing from members of their congregation, of duping other people? I'm not sure. I wasn't there whether I did it or not, though, but according to the things that we could read, but I just have this, my heart is just so heavy about it, that this is same community that this guy did the wrong thing. Did anyone sit him down to say, you did it or you didn't? You were jailed, but why? There were evidences that was presented to say he actually did it. So for him to have been sent to jail in Nigeria with his money, something happened. He did it really, but for him to come back into the community, and there were drums. I mean, there were thousands of people welcoming him back. I just, Egboyemi, maybe you can answer me the
No,
question.
no, are we don't put I'll quickly respond, and I'm sure with the other panel members. Look, the decay in our culture, we can say it. You can say it even in Yoruba land. We pride ourselves around our culture and everything. But when you look around you, when you even look around the caliber of people that parade themselves as our traditional rulers, I'm talking about Yoruba land now, you begin to really see the level of decay in that society. And I think sometimes it's a society that needs to put a mirror right in front of it, to see the level of degeneration. Maybe as a people, we have the way we see ourselves in terms of our cultural norms and values. There's a way we see ourselves, and as a way we carry ourselves based on those assumptions of who we think we are. But when you look around you, in most cases, they're just contrary to whatever we think we are as a people. And I quite agree with you. The gentleman you mentioned was found guilty at a lower court. He was sentenced, to jail for it. The reason why he's out now is that he appealed the sentence, and based on that appeal, it was granted bail, which is just some of those judicial procedure, because I think the case between a higher court where he is appealed the sentence, and based on that, he has been released on bail, pending his next court appearance and all that. But the fanfare around it, to me as well, I see two important things around the decay within our culture. And when you combine that with the level of, I guess, the religious practices and bigotry and the religious, this brainwashing in that religious sector, I think is just a recipe for disaster. I think Elvis, you wanted to say something before.
Wale, yeah, correct. Yeah, correct. I just wanted to further buttress and drive Egbon's point home in relation to the question regarding dividends of democracy.
Yep.
I would say, the late Fela Abamiada encapsulated it with his song. The one he sang about animal one dash me human right.
Yep.
Human right is my
property.
So
yeah,
exactly. So dividends of democracy. I mean, that's what, like Ebon said, is what you're elected to do. It's what is expected of you, to make your people live a better life, or provide those economic benefits, social and political benefits that accrue to the people. But you see, our people have been so pauperized. I know I've said this
Yes, yeah,
before, and I'm going to reiterate it to the extent that they're not used to this good life. They're not used to people delivering on their political promises. They're not used to government providing pipeline water or good roads, or good hospitals. So wherever they see it done, they tend to you know want to praise the individual in question, or politician, or the person in authority who has done this. Now, because they're not used to it, and the politicians are also aware of this fact. That's why that terminology comes in. Like, you've been supervised. That's the way I see it. So whatever I do, is like I'm doing you a favor. Whereas in actual fact, it's the people's rights, is what you're elected to do. So I just wanted to add to that. Yeah, Egbo, I agree perfectly. There's that word shouldn't be. It should be non-existent. You don't talk about dividends of democracy, where it's actually the people's right. It's their birthright. That's what you're elected to do.
Thanks, Elvis. Egbo, just before I move on to the next question, do you want to respond to any of these, or you want to comment around the question asked by Vicky, earlier, around this, the popular Lagos pastor that had just been released on bail? Do you want to say something? Egbo, we can't hear you, Egbo.
It's frozen again.
It's frozen. Okay. So to our viewers, wherever watching us from, you are on Vicky O Show, the Nigeria we want, and you can join us. We've got the WhatsApp number displayed on the screen. You can send a message. We want you to be a part of this, because we want the discussion to be as diverse in views and opinions as possible. At the end of the day, this is our contribution to Nigeria, the Nigeria that we want. We don't pretend to have all the answers, but we think the more we can have people join us and contribute their own ideas as well, and probably disagree with us. So I would like to see that and be able to challenge our views and perspective. I think that is exactly what we want. That is the way to move a society forward. So please join us. The WhatsApp number is on the screen. I'll go back to Egbon now. Egbon, can
Can you have
you?
it on mute? I've been trying to unmute him.
Can you hear me now?
Okay,
Yeah, we
we
can
can
hear
hear you
you.
now. Mm.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Clearly.
Yes. My quick response.
Die, or you can. Okay, yeah.
Okay, go ahead,
My
Egbon.
quick response to that really is, I think, Wale, I said, Wale, I think you have answered that question. Just the little addition I have there is that I do not really see much of a difference between the congregation in that scenario Vicky painted, and that motley crowd that I saw at the airport. I do not see the difference between the two of them. I think they are operating within the same wavelength. Frankly, I think they are. I'll tell you, yesterday I spent quality time with an uncle of mine, Dr. Ade Onojobi, to be specific. He happens to be one of the first set of British trained medical doctors that we had. One of the very best, one of the very top class. Years and years ago. I'm bringing this back because I believe we have lost a lot of things along the line. A lot of things. I hope you can still hear me.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. I believe we've lost a lot of things along the line. Listen, I'm talking about him. I'll make this brief. This man took a loan of 60,000 to complete his building there in Abeokuta. That's the only building he has. At a point, there was a threat to get the money back, or the house will be sold. I mean, they were going to recover the loan and all that. And so he was forced to leave these shores to go to Saudi Arabia. 60,000 naira. He left for Saudi Arabia to look for dollars. Within 3 months, he was able to pay off that money. He planned to stay there for 1 year. He ended up staying in Saudi Arabia as a gynecologist, top class gynecologist for 10 good years. 10 years. Now, within those 10 years, he said he never had high blood pressure. Nothing like that. Because all that was needed was at his disposal to do his job. Here was someone that was probably doing about 6 cesarean operations in a day. No high blood pressure. He came back to Nigeria. He was in his 60s when he came back. He said, wait a minute, I still have some energy that I could use for this community. He approached the health board, offered his service. They were happy. They took him in. He came in to service, and within a short period, this man saw people dying for no reason. For lack of facilities, lack of drugs, finance, etc., etc. Within a short period of time that he saw all that, he developed high blood pressure. This man worked there like no man's business. He retired, and then he realized that people were pregnant women were still dying. They were still being rushed to UCH from Abeokuta and Luth. He came back and asked what was the matter, because he was the chief surgeon there. What was the matter? He said they didn't have a replacement. He offered to be coming to that place to work after retirement. He did that. Government eventually now wrote him a letter offering to pay, engage him on contract basis to pay for the services. He refused. He said no, he wasn't going to take 1 kobo. What I'm saying in essence is, our leaders need to learn. Our leaders need to learn. Our leaders need to look around and say, wait a minute, what can I do to make things better for people? The concept of this particular episode, listen, Nigerians are not asking for much. Nigerians are not asking for plots of land in Banana Island. No. The average Nigerian is not thinking about the Mercedes-Benz series as a car. The average Nigerian is not thinking of having his lunch or dinner at Sheraton or any of the 5-star hotels. He just wants to walk into a buka and eat amala. And eat his amala, even with or without meat. But we want to pay for it. Be able to pay for that. That's the average Nigerian. The average Nigerian just wants his child to go to a good school. Remember, I'm not laying emphasis. He just wants his child to go to a good school. The average Nigerian is not asking that. Listen, he's not even asking for 24 hours light, which is a shame. The average Nigerian just want to say, okay, maybe in my area we can boast of 6-8 hours of constant power supply. I'm not proud to say this in public, but the average Nigerian is not asking for the moon. So why can't we do these little bits to make things better for them? That is the question. What is the big deal about it? Stop reinventing the wheel. There are societies that have done things that you can at least copy. The man living at this outskirts of Lagos wants to wake up in the morning, get into a train that takes him to the island to work. close there, get into a train and come back. Chicken. The man in Abeokuta wants to be able to do the same. Get into a train in Abeokuta, walk in Lagos, at the end of the day, get back there. Reduce the pressure on the metropolitan. These are the basic things they're asking for. But what do they get? Continuity.
Thanks so much, Egbo. And when they go, reading from the paragraph I read at the beginning, and when they go through all that, educate their kids and everything, they want that they should be able to retire. And when they retire with respect and dignity, not seeing them on queues, in their 70s, 80s, begging for their pension money. Many have died through that process, collapse on the queue and die. Many even beyond just working the civil service, many have served the country in the armed forces, in the police and what have you. And then you see them in their 70s, you see their dignity taken away, begging for food. And you ask yourself, what sort of leaders, allow that to happen. So I'll go. Time is not really on our side. I go quickly to Vicky, come back to Elvis, and then the last question for tonight we go to Egbon. So my next question goes to Vicky. Portrayals of change in court and next level are returning to social media with the same level of razzmatazz and deceit we witnessed in 2015 and 2019. Why promote same failed product to millions of Nigerians? Preying on people's gullibility? That's a question for you, Fiki.
I believe because they've got nothing. They've realized that they really don't need to work hard. They don't need to, put in any more work. They can just repackage it the same way because people will still vote for them. Like Elvis always said, Nigerians had already been pauperized. So no, they have no food, they have nothing. So they know just by handing them some, tins of rice here, tins of beans there, they will vote for them. So it's not about what they've packaged because they've got nothing to offer. So they just give the same thing and they're expecting people to vote because they know they will vote. They know what they're gonna give them. They know what they're going to give them, and people will not even ask. They won't ask. They won't ask for because this is what they've been doing and it's been working. So what's going to change? And are people, they are not showing it in any way that they are going to ask for anything different. We're talking about 2023 we're in 2021. So if our people are going to do something differently, there will have been some signs by now, but there's nothing. So what's the point in putting effort into changing the narrative, into changing our theme? There's no point because these people, we know what they need. They don't have anything. We just give them a tiny little bit. They will come out, they will vote, and boom, we're back there.
So you mean is that we're pauperized people, gullible people, they will maintain the same status quo, not asking
Yes.
questions, and just exactly. And talking about that, we on this program a few weeks ago we spoke about Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his campaign, even though he hasn't officially declared. But the handwriting is on the wall. They're already distributing, bag of rice in Kano. They're distributing it. Is it in, Borno? Some northern states during this Ramadan period, they are already, bags of rice with his name and logo being distributed. Again, they think we all stupid. I've read things from people from his camp actually saying that some good friends of Jagaban are really doing that. That Jagaban himself is not really distributing anything. But his friends up there are doing it. They think we are all just gullible and we are stupid people, and they can just lie, and get away with it. But that's why we continue to talk about this. Everyone has the right to contest. Election is a democracy, but stop the deceit and stop the lies and stop preying on people's vulnerability and gullibility. So I'll move next to Elvis. And my specific question, for Elvis, sorry, that would take us to the military. So in the military era, let me just be specific. To Elvis, why many politicians were dining and whining with military rulers, members of civil societies, civil libertarians, and democratic groups fought for Nigeria's return to democratic rule, but left the democratic space for corrupt politicians to take over government in 1999. What is responsible for this? Why do people fight for years to send military rule away? And then, just as Nigeria was about to transition into political system, many went back to their law chambers. Many returned to their university campuses as if nothing has happened, as if their job has been done, and then left the stage for politicians that were actually part of the military to take over the government. I was a student union leader back in my university days. I was actively involved. I knew a lot of people. There were top, civil democratic groups. Up to now, I still try to find answer to the rationale behind how could people devote all their lives, and then when everything was nearly down and settled, you vacated that space for people that never contributed much to it. I'm just want to think whether you've got any opinion on that, Elvis.
Yes, Wale. Um, yeah, the civil society groups and pressure groups and the likes at the time during the military era um, had a primary purpose. Okay, and the primary purpose, in my view, at the time was the world has moved on. To them, the military junta was a cage, while most other parts of the world were thriving in democracy, communism or socialist states, whatever suited them. I think they found it odd that the military should be at the helm of affairs of the country. That's probably why they put up a good fight to get rid of the military at the time. Now, having done that, which was the primary motive for them being around at the time, in their minds, their job was done. Now, where the sort of even though in the military era you have political parties and all of that, you will say that was sort of similar to the opposition you will have in a civilian regime. They did all they could to get rid of the military at the time. But in a purely democratic setting, you would expect that there will be a vibrant opposition party, like we have in Australia, like you have in the UK, which will constantly keep the government on its toes and to want to make them do the right things and to implement the right policies and provide jobs and the infrastructure to the populace. So once they've done that, the they the stage. If it just our job is done, and these other guys, will take it up from where we start. But what do you find? You have a system where there's little or no opposition. If anything, you have people actually jumping on the parties and moving over to the parties or the party in power. Again, it comes down to people going into positions of authority or wanting to get there for their own personal aggrandizement, for what they hope to benefit, and not for the primary purpose of doing good by the people or to the people. So in a nutshell, these guys, in my view, leave the stage because primary purpose of why they were there in the first place has been achieved. The military is no longer there, and then they've gone back having alliance. They've done the info. The politicians are there now, and an ideal situation will be the opposition now to keep and make them do the right thing. That's what I think, my opinion.
Thanks so much for that, Elvis. And look, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to that particular question. And I think the way you look at it in terms of civil libertarians, democratic groups, they are more committed to rule of law and civil society. And as you said, they felt their job was done and they returned. But I felt there was a missed opportunity there to really beyond that, pro-democratic groups to really transform into political groups. Because 3 years after, in 2003, they realized that they've left a big vacuum. And I remember Chief Gani Fawemi, he formed a party in 2003, National Conscious Party, to contest in 2003 elections. But we know how that went. Even despite Chief Gani's name and reputation and everything as a human rights fighter, the Nigerians rejected him at the polls if we are to go by the election. So again, we begin to ask about our expectations and reality. So the last question goes to Egbonyemi, and is also it follows from the democratic societies and their role. And the question specifically is around beyond rhetoric, beyond continuous criticizing the government, whichever government is in power. How can civil societies in Nigeria promote good governance and accountability in the country? Egbonyemi? Are you there,
I must
Egbon?
say that for as long as they stay as observers from outside, it will remain a challenge. For as long as they just want to monitor things, it will remain a challenge, because politicians have a way of breaking their ranks when.
Oh.
Okay, we've lost Egbon. Hopefully Egbon will join us. So what I intend to do now is that the time is fast spent. I would like to go around the group for the final word. Okay, I think Egbon is coming back. Okay, Egbon. Okay. So Egbon. So
Okay,
yeah, please, sir. When you answer that question, please give us your last word for tonight. Then I will go to Elvis to do the same, and I will hand over the baton to Vicky to wrap up for tonight.
Yes, I was just saying that politicians have a way of breaking their ranks. They know how to break their ranks out there. So there is a need for them to galvanize. There is a need for them to come together and look for like minds and get into politicking and politics proper. That's important. When you have a football team that has gone through qualifiers with dedicated players, with those who are ready to sweat and spill their blood and all that, and you eventually qualify for that big tournament, and you wake up one day you disband that team, you get rid of that team, and you want to bring in some others, some new hands and all that. The probability of you winning that tournament is very slim. It is very slim. So, just as you said, there is a need to do a lot more. Yes, maybe if a platform like this was available then, before the civil liberties society people just fought and disappeared, maybe, because I can't exactly remember. I can't remember if this particular issue was discussed, that of not just fighting for democracy, but taking it to the next level. I'm not sure whether it was really discussed exhaustively then. However, this is where we are. On my final words, briefly, Godwin Obaseki, the governor of Edo State, said the country printed between 50 to 60 billion naira to share as that the fact federal allocation to states and all that. Yeah, he made that allegation that we printed. And of course, Usman Ahmed, the finance minister, Ahmed, came up and said outrightly, no, that was a lie. That was not true. Yeah. Only for the governor of CBN to later come up a day or two later to say, actually, we printed. But it is not the scope that Obaseki was printed. It is not even within what he was trying to say and all that, blah, blah, blah. What I'm saying in essence is, this is how the average Nigerian is bombarded with information that is not completely true. They have truths, and this is what makes him feel perplexed. In other words, just to make it brief, we need to go back to the drawing board, and let us avoid getting to the level of Somalia. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those final words, Egbon. And I quite like that your analogy about a soccer team going through qualifiers, and I think you captured that very well, because it's a question that's been in my head for as long as I can remember. Elvis, your final words for tonight.
Yeah, Wale, I'm going to go a bit biblical now.
Okay.
It was King Rehoboam, I think, in the Bible, whom when he ascended the throne after his father, and then the people went to him to plead with him to give them some reprieve, some relief, and he said to them, whilst my father chastised you with whips, I'm going to actually chastise you with scorpions. Ooh. Meaning that his reign will be worse than his father's. Now, yeah. On that note, I'm just going to make a passionate appeal to the president and crave his indulgence to please give us the change he promised, and not this continuity that we had, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? Those are my final words, Wally.
Thank you very much on that philosophical and biblical note, Pastor Elvis. We talk about maybe it's time for us to go spiritual in Melbourne as well. I will hand over to it has been to our viewers. It's really been another educative and entertaining show, and thought provoking. We hand over the baton to our chief host, Vicky, to wrap up the show. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much, Wale. Like always, it's been a great show. A time to voice our minds and do it in a safe mode. And I just want to say very big thank you to each and every one of you for coming on tonight, your morning or afternoon, Egbo. Thank you all so very much. And let us come together and do it better again next week. And to all our viewers, we appreciate you. We have some new viewers today, and some actually commented. Lauren Michael Harris from United States, Brother Jangua from Dandenong in Australia, and a few others commented. We want to say thank you so much for watching and making few comments. And we'll be back again, same time, same place. But until then, you all have a great weekend and a great week. We'll see you all next week. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.